about this for breaking news in the NFL, from Mr. Irrelevant to a $53 million man. The San Francisco 49ers and quarterback Brock Purdy have agreed to a 5-year, $265 million contract extension. That has been confirmed by our elite NFL insider, Jonathan Jones. Talk about dreams come true. The last pick in the draft, who has now made less than $1 million in his base salary the first 3 seasons in the NFL, now making an average annual value of $53 million per year. That is tied for the 7th most money a quarterback is making in the league. Purdy led the Niners to the Super Bowl in the 2023 season, his first full year as the starting quarterback, and you see there some of his accolades as well. Let's welcome in NFL expert Emery Hunt here. Give us what you think about this. We're going to have you rank your quarterbacks in a second, but Brock Purdy now making this sort of money in the league. What is your initial reaction?
Well, I believe the kids say he really went out there and earned it and got it up out the mud, as they say, right? And I love the fact that he was the 7th-round pick, last pick in the draft. We know that story, but he stayed ready, so he didn't have to get ready. So when he got the opportunity, it was almost like he had always been the starting quarterback. And I thought last year, I want to say around the first month of the season, he was playing really good football. And when you think about that, considering what all they had going on around them and surrounding the organization, Brock Purdy was playing really well. And the numbers may not indicate that, but I thought that was the best play individually we saw from Brock Purdy. Because I know people were saying, oh, he's being carried by all the weapons around him. He started to shake that a little bit last year, where he had to step out and be the starting quarterback, be the guy that you win because of. And I now like the fact that they're going into the offseason. The defense should be improved. And offensively, they're still going to have the run game. The offensive line should be improved much more than it was last year. And I think we'll see that passing game to look like it looked when they went to the Super Bowl. So I like this for Brock Purdy. I think he went out there and got it done on the field, proved his worth, outplayed his draft status, and got paid handsomely for it.
Let me ask you this. Where would he rank in your top 10 quarterbacks in the league? Because we know the money doesn't always line up with maybe where they rank as far as their talents in the league. A lot of it depends on when you sign that contract. Where does Brock Purdy land for you?
He's in my top 10, man, and it was funny because you talked about how sometimes it may not look where guys are ranked based on what they make, but he's in my top 10 more so than some guys that are getting paid more than him, i.e. the Tua Tagovailoa, i.e. the Trevor Lawrence. But you look at this right here. This is a good, strong top 10 of NFL quarterbacks. I'm still a big fan of what Dak Prescott has done, but Brock Purdy slowly has moved up my list into the top 10 category. And I would like to say that when you have a Brock Purdy that's out there on the field, that has done it at the highest of levels, that has done it in the bigger games consistently over time, despite the detractors, myself early included, he was able to overcome all of that and still consistently play really well. And so you have to give him his props. You have to give him his respect. And in my opinion, he is definitely a top 10 quarterback.
The 49ers are spending quite a bit of money, and obviously, Tommy mentioned earlier, some people want to see, the fine print of this deal and is actually how it goes down. But if you're other teams with a very good rookie or sophomore quarterback, for instance, let's look at Jaden Daniels, the Commanders, maybe Drake May will blow the Patriots away, got some good guys coming in. Can you learn a lesson from the 49ers and maybe trying not to spend all of the bank on your quarterback?
I love the way you preface that and phrase that, Amanda, because I'm going to say pull up that top 10 list again. And I wish more NFL teams did it this way, because when we look at this top 10 that I compiled of my personal list, those dudes went out there and done it. So you can't just go ahead and pay somebody because you like how they look, or you like how they look in the jersey, or you like how they throw the football in OTAs or rookie minicamp. Everyone on this list went out there and proved their worth consistently. And I know sometimes you may have a young guy, CJ Stroud, still on his rookie deal, but for the most part, you reward guys for doing the good things consistently, and Brock Purdy has done that more so than some people that may not have proven it. Sometimes you may get still carried by your draft status. I'm glad the 49ers are not still carrying Brock Purdy's draft status along with him. They said, now this guy clearly isn't a 7th-round talent, clearly isn't a 7th-round pick. He's worth the pay of a top 10 guy, and that's why he lands in my list. And I think more teams should go about it that way. Don't let the quarterback hold you hostage. Let his play on the field determine how much you want to pay him or whether or not you let him go and seek his services elsewhere.
Emery, I love it. Look, thumbs up from you, from Ray Carthon, from Bryant McFadden, even Tommy's 49ers friends out there in the Bay Area, all liking this deal going down for Brock Purdy. We appreciate it. Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy. So the money is there. What is next for the 49ers? And exactly how did this deal get done? We're going to talk to our...
If you're just joining us, we continue to follow breaking news. JJ here with that breaking news. What more can you tell us about how this deal got done?
So, Tommy, you and I have been talking for some time. I know your roots there in that area, and it felt like every July into every August, sometimes into September, the biggest names for the San Francisco 49ers were needing a new contract, were holding out for a new contract, were not showing up to training camp, might get traded, might miss week 1. And now look at what this offseason has been. George Kittle goes out and gets paid one last time for his fantastic future Hall of Fame career. And now Brock Purdy, who has been the best bargain in all of sports the last couple of years, on that Mr. Irrelevant rookie contract. This was almost as early as Brock Purdy could actually get paid. Literally, the 49ers, even if they wanted to pay Brock Purdy, they could not have done it before the end of this past season. And so it didn't stretch into June. They didn't haggle over money in July before players reported to training camp. He wasn't missing out on a couple of days of training camp, and folks were wondering, wow, what's it going to look like? And, you know, he could get fined, but because he's on his rookie deal, they could waive the fines. No. All sides wanted to get this done. They felt good about getting this done. I started getting some smoke signals maybe about 2-3 weeks ago that by the end of May, this contract could be completed, that this was not going to be like the Niners of the last several years with a Deebo Samuel, a Trent Williams, a Christian McCaffrey, and some parts of the summer, a Brandon Ayuk, a Bosa. They wanted to get this deal done. They knew it was going to be in the 50s in terms of average annual value. It was never going to get to 60 like Dak Prescott. That was out of here. But could it be somewhere where both sides felt, Tommy, that this could be a win, that this was respectable? Absolutely, and that's what you get with $53 million a year.
Yeah, you're about my roots of the Bay Area. My group chat with my friends are very happy with the deal and said that things did not lengthen or elongate, no standoffs, if you will, when it comes to Brock Purdy. As we're taking a look at his numbers, this contract extension represents a gigantic raise for the former 7th-round pick. Made less than $1 million in base salary each of his first 3 seasons in the NFL, but he led the Niners to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, his first full season as a starting quarterback. And you see the numbers there as the starter, including the playoffs. When the Big 5 play, granted, you have to have all the things that JJ mentioned around him with the talent, but certainly when you find your quarterback, whether it's the top overall pick or Mr. Irrelevant, looks like you want to keep your guy there. We had our former GM, Ray Carthon, joining us here. JJ, he was very much interested in seeing the real numbers. What does that really mean? Remind us what that really means anytime we get a new deal like the ones we're getting today.
Yeah, that's an important point that Ram pointed out, and a lot of the NFL is certainly waiting on the real numbers. Look, here are the numbers that we have. It's 5 years, $265 million for the contract. That's easy to put up in a graphic. We can go ahead and flash the graphic again where he has $53 million in average annual value. That's good, fine, and well, but what does it really mean? Whose contract do you really want? Because the name that you don't see up here is Deshaun Watson, but his entire contract is fully guaranteed. Do you care about being on this sort of page, right? Or do you care about the real money that you get at signing? And so Dak Prescott nearly got his entire contract fully guaranteed. Deshaun Watson got his entire contract fully guaranteed. The rest of the players that you see on here, that's the total guarantees. And frankly, when we talk in the NFL as total guarantees, they actually aren't literally guaranteed. You have to play and play really well in order to make sure years down the road that you actually do get that money. So what is the money that Brock Purdy will get when pen hits paper, so long as he is a fine, upstanding citizen of this country and just plays for the San Francisco 49ers? That is always sort of the difference. And so we will wait to see what those numbers are. Historically, what a deal like this ultimately means is that it is at least a 3-year extension that Brock Purdy is locked in with the San Francisco 49ers for 2025, for 26 and 27 because cutting or trading him would not be a financially smart thing to do for the team. And then after that, it is a we'll see. If he keeps taking them to NFC championship games, if he keeps taking them to Super Bowls and finally breaking through and winning a Super Bowl, we're talking about a whole new Brock Purdy contract 3 years from now. Don't even worry about what this 5th year on this deal is. He'll have a whole new one where he is, at that point, again, one of the highest paid in the NFL.
You're absolutely right about that. And, JJ, before I let you go, obviously football fans want to know, is there an inkling of who might be next now that Brock Purdy's off the list on this Friday?
You know, there's not one that is such an obvious this guy's up, right? We had that summer where it was clear when you had a Joe Burrow, when you had a Jalen Hurts in there, a Trevor Lawrence and all those things. It was very clear that as soon as one guy got it, that the next guy out of that group was going to get it. But I took a couple quick notes, jotted those down. Look, Lamar Jackson, who just had a deal done a couple years ago, the Ravens could re-up with Lamar. A perennial MVP candidate and winner. So he's a guy, I don't know that it's going to happen. I don't think that anything's close, but the Ravens GM Eric DeCosta admitted as much a couple months ago, saying we're already thinking about it. Kyler Murray got his deal. He's not coming off a year where you would go break the bank for Kyler Murray, but if he plays well this upcoming season, he could be someone else who could potentially